What's going on, everybody? So, let me give you the lowdown real quick. So, I finally got a laptop, so I'm able to go live. So, I'm really just testing things out, but at the same time, whew, some crazy things have happened in college football today. Don't worry, I'll work with the settings and all that stuff. We still have a lot of things to work on as far as the live goes. This is my first one, but the college football Saturday, I've come to expect one thing, and that is I don't know what to expect. I mean, you have some crazy upsets, you have some crazy come from behind preventative upsets like the USC over UCLA. I still don't think they're any good at all. But that's for a later day. The big thing was LSU beating Florida. That's a big deal because now if Florida beats Alabama in the SEC championship, that's going to be a two-loss SEC team. Two-loss. So if Florida were to win that, what then? Do they put in a two-loss SEC team in? Probably. What about Alabama? I mean this is a whole new thing. So I'm loving the chaos, but at the same time, I don't know what to think. And I was looking at the score whenever UCLA was actually beating USC by, I believe, 13 points, close to 2 touchdowns at one point. And then USC comes back and wins that game. Colorado loses to Utah, so the Pac-12 is still, crazy. And you have Oregon and Washington in the Pac-12 North. Oregon has 2 losses. Washington has 1 loss. The winner of that will go to the Pac-12 championship. I know they'll get a New Year's Six bowl bid, but will they be worthy of that? In my opinion, I don't think so. But because they're labeled a Power 5 conference, they're going to get that bid. Personally, if it was up to me, I know BYU lost to Coastal Carolina. I would give that bid to either BYU or Coastal Carolina. Coastal Carolina, in my opinion, they have definitely earned a New Year's Six bowl bid. But here's what's going to happen. Here's why they're not going to get it. The rule is that the Group of 5 team champion that's ranked the highest, they get that New Year's Six bowl bid. So that's going to knock Coastal Carolina out because the playoff committee has already proven they're going to screw Cincinnati. So Cincinnati is going to get that New Year's Six bowl bid, and Coastal Carolina will be screwed. This whole year has gotten on my nerves. It showed me that, number one, our government, number two, sports isn't really what we think it is. It's whatever they say it is. It doesn't matter. They make rules, and then they break their own rules, and then they create their own loopholes around their own rules. Like, make up your mind. You already know what I'm going to say. Ohio State. At the beginning of the season, think about this. At the beginning of the season, the Big Ten says, we're not playing football. Well, then, everybody else with smart brains said, we are going to play football. I mean, we're going to have to cancel games, probably quarantine, but we're going to get through this. So the Big Ten saw that not everybody was going to follow them. They decided to reverse course and play their season. So that's one correction that they've made. Then they made a rule. I don't even know why they made this rule. I'll have to go back and look at it. But they made a rule that if a Big Ten team doesn't play at least 6 Big Ten games, then they can't qualify for the Big Ten championship. Like I said, y'all let me know how that rule came about because I have no flipping clue. Point is, then they reverse and correct that mistake and say, oh, well, since we think that Ohio State is our best chance of getting to the playoffs, of course we have to correct that rule because we want the money and we want Ohio State in the playoffs. So that's the second, alter course, reverse direction that they've done. So they, cancel the season? Nope. Not cancel the season. 6 games? Nope. 5 games is good enough because it's Ohio State. And I would guarantee you that if it was anybody else and they were ranked lower, that would have not happened. The whole reason that happened is because it's Ohio State and because they were ranked high enough to be a factor in the playoffs. My first comment is from a West Virginia fan. That's awesome to see. I need more West Virginia subscribers on my YouTube channel. We are vastly outnumbered, which is fine. I'm college football across the board. You don't have to be a West Virginia fan. You don't have to be a specific a conference fan, Big 12, whatever. You can be from wherever and represent whoever. I just wanted to point that out because it's nice to see whenever there's a fellow West Virginia fan because we are outnumbered here. And this is a West Virginia, well, I'm a West Virginia fan, but it's not technically a West Virginia channel because I really cover more of the entire spectrum of college football. So that was from Brady. He says, let's go Mountaineers. As always, let's go Mountaineers. And I'm going to do a show tomorrow because there's a big basketball game, an unexpected big basketball game between Richmond and West Virginia. So I'm going to do a show about that. Jeffrey gets in. He's a longtime sub. The Big Ten rule that you have to play at least 6 is pre-COVID rule. Oh, so that wasn't made. Okay, I got you. Which actually makes me raise my eyebrow even more. That's actually a legit rule that they reversed for Ohio State. So thanks for clearing that up. Caden says, I hope Ohio State loses in the Big Ten championship. The chances of that are actually a little bit better than I thought. And here's why I say that. Northwestern, they need more offense. We all know that. They need more offense, but their defense is legit. If they can catch Ohio State on a bad day and score, some points, they could win the game. Two games that are a given right now that people are saying. Number one, people are saying that Northwestern is going to lose to Ohio State. That's a given. The second game is Clemson will beat Notre Dame. That's a given. I'll even throw in a third given, that Alabama will beat Florida. I'm going to go along with everybody else on that one. Florida looked bad against a terrible LSU. So I'm going to agree with that. But those other two games are not as big a gimmies as you think. The biggest reason that people are picking Clemson over Notre Dame is because, well, they didn't have Trevor Lawrence when they played Notre Dame in South Bend. But to me, it wasn't Clemson's quarterback play that made them lose that game against Notre Dame. To me, it was their defense. I think Uiagalelei actually had a really good game against Notre Dame. If you go back and look at the stats, he had a really good game. So this notion that Clemson is automatically going to beat Notre Dame, don't believe it. I think it's going to be a good game. Personally, I think Clemson will win, but it's not a gimme. And then the last one, Ohio State beating Northwestern. Northwestern was exposed against Michigan State, a bad Michigan State who got thumped by Ohio State. But at the same time, Ohio State has been inconsistent as well. Penn State, who's turned out to be pretty much the bottom feeder of the Big Ten East. I mean, Ohio State convincingly beat them, but they should have flat out destroyed them. Penn State scored way too many points on Ohio State. That defense for Ohio State is suspect. They have a great offense, especially quarterback and running back, but that defense is suspect. Even their wide receiving core is getting better, but they need more experience. So those are the three games that people are saying are gimmies, and I'll agree with the Florida gimme, especially after getting beat by LSU. They look terrible. Kyle Trask actually looked human today, and when he looks human, Florida loses. Let's get back to the comments. Les says, Morgantown in the house. I'm glad you said that, Les. I'm not in Morgantown, but I did make a trip to West Virginia. Right now, I'm in Charleston, West Virginia, doing this live show. I'm actually staying at my brother's, and that's why I'm doing this live show, because I'm trying to tweak out all the mistakes. I can tell from my camera that there's some things that I need to tweak out. I promise. It's going to get better. This is my first live show, and that's why I'm doing it, so I get better. So I'm in Charleston. You're in Morgantown. Hey, we're both in West Virginia. Let's say that. Logan says Ohio State is probably the best team in the Big Ten, but it still feels wrong. That is a great comment, actually. I 100% agree. I do think Ohio State is the biggest team in the Big Ten, the best team in the Big Ten. That's the problem that the playoff committee is having. Because Ohio State is the best team in the Big Ten, they're overrating the Big Ten. That's the core of the problem. I don't have a problem with them saying that Ohio State is the best team in the Big Ten. What I do have a problem is saying that the best team in the Big Ten should automatically get into the playoffs because they haven't done as much work as everybody else, and they haven't looked as impressive as some of these other teams. So that heading, that title of giving Ohio State, they're the best team in the Big Ten, fine with that. That doesn't mean that they're a playoff team. And I think that's where the playoff committee gets it wrong. They say, oh, Ohio State, they're the best team in the Big Ten. That doesn't mean much right now. Let's be honest. That does not mean much. All right, so dadgum, I'm getting behind on the comments. My bad, guys. But yeah, I actually do agree with that. Les says, how about West Virginia versus Tennessee? I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be West Virginia versus Maryland in the – I'm assuming you're talking about the bowl game. I think it's going to be West Virginia against Maryland because that has a Big Ten tie-in. I had West Virginia against Tennessee or Kentucky whenever it was the Liberty Bowl because that's an SEC tie-in. But since TCU – somehow beat Oklahoma State last week, they got a spot above us, and they get the Liberty Bowl. We get the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. So I have us playing Maryland, which actually I like that matchup. That's a rivalry, and I like our chances. Brandon says, I just checked, and the Washington-Oregon game won't happen, and now Washington will play USC in the Pac-12 championship. Oh, man. Pac-12, you never let me down. That's all I'm going to say about that. I still think that USC and Colorado should play each other. I know Colorado picked up a loss today, but I still think that they should play each other. Craig says, we saw Maryland, I believe, almost beat Ohio State last year. Yeah, but that was last year. Last week. I see. I got you. Well, I wouldn't say almost. Maybe give them a little bit of trouble, but I don't know. G-Boon just subbed. Love this channel, dude. Hey, thanks, man. Every sub counts. I'm marching towards 1,000. I try not to make it all about money, but money does help. Let's not lie about it. Jeffrey back in. Wisconsin nearly beat us in the Big Ten championship last year, not Maryland. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. You were confusing me, man. First you said this year Maryland or Wisconsin, and then you changed to Maryland and Wisconsin. I see what you're saying. Last year during the Big Ten championship game, Wisconsin almost upset Ohio State, and then this year Maryland. Did they even play Maryland? I don't know. I might be getting that mixed up. I think I just saw what he posted and got mixed up. I don't even think they played. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was Indiana. It was Indiana that I'm thinking of. They beat them 27-11. I'm a little nervous about us taking care of business against Northwestern. I'm not going to lie. I can't blame you, man. If Northwestern somehow musters up some offense, they are very capable of knocking off Ohio State. The question will be, can Ohio State's defense, keep Northwestern under 20? I still think Ohio State's going to win. Don't get me wrong. I still think Ohio State is going to win that game. I just don't think we should put it into the gimme category. Like, all said and done, no problem. Now, if they come out, beat them by 30, great, awesome. But I'm just saying, shouldn't be a gimme game. Les says, in the year of COVID, match up the best teams possible. Freaking common sense. Great comment. I mean, that's common sense. where has common sense gone this year? I understand that it's COVID year and, you know, it's super contagious, it's serious, but you don't shut down life and you don't make stupid decisions. Like, you know, crazy things happen. You got to figure out the right path, not just be like, we can't do anything. We got to shut everything down. That's not the right. You can't just shut down. That's that's a very extreme answer before trying to figure it out. Now, if you can't figure it out, then of course shut it down. Prevent, you know, whatever you need to prevent, but you got to at least try to figure it out at first. Grant says, did you during WVU's first game about Oscar not putting in the work this summer? What? Oh, I see what you're saying, Oscar Sheway. Yeah, for our basketball team. Yeah, but if you go back and you watch, what was that last game? He actually played his rear end off against Gonzaga, and West Virginia about damn near upset the number one team in the nation. So I was happy, but I know what you're talking about. He's not. It's been the Derek Culver show as far as West Virginia basketball goes. G. Boone says Ohio State almost lost to Indiana and Penix. Let's just admit that. Yeah, and another thing that particular game proved, Ohio State was up, what was it, 35-7, right? So I think they kind of took their foot off the gas, and, you know, Indiana scores a touchdown. Then they score another touchdown. And next thing you know, it's a one-possession football game, and Indiana has a chance to tie the game at the end of the game because Ohio State's defense just couldn't get the job done. And you're going to have – every team is going to have these games where their offense has these lapses. The question is, do you have the defense to carry your offense when they have those lapses? And with that Indiana game, it showed that Ohio State does not have that defense whenever the Buckeyes have those laps in offenses. So for Buckeye fans, they're just hoping that their offense don't have laps because they know their defense can't carry them. So Buckeye fans, I don't know what to tell you. Whenever you watch a ball game, you just better hope that you score every time because your defense is not going to hold up their end of the bargain. Hey, what's up, Hurricane T2Y? I'm glad you stopped by, man. I'm sorry about the game today, man. I consider you one of my buddies. I really do. I know we haven't known each other very long, but I feel like we get along very well. And man, I'm talking about the North Carolina-Miami game, if y'all don't know what I'm talking about. And Hurricane T2Y, he is a very, very big Miami Hurricanes fan. Go check out his YouTube channel. He's got a legit YouTube channel, and he allows me to come on and do live shows on Sunday, and we talk about the AP poll reaction and all that stuff. So, when you're done with me, go check out Hurricane T2Y. He's great, and he has me over, and we have a good time. But I do feel bad for him because North Carolina waxed the floor with the Canes today. It was bad. I'm trying to find something positive to say about that game, but I think wasn't the final score like 62-26 or something like? It was something bad. Mountaineer fan, he's in the house. What's up, buddy? Thanks for dropping by. He's a reliable sub. He talks a lot. Thank you, Mountaineer fan. Jeffrey says, did you see Ohio State beat Notre Dame in basketball? No, I didn't say that. But the reason I'm laughing is that reminds me of a video that I did last year. And you're not going to be laughing at this, Jeffrey. It was a perfect storm, okay? I had to do it. It wasn't me going out of my way to trash Ohio State. It was a perfect storm that came together. And that perfect storm was, the title of the video was Ohio State. Number 2, Ohio State gets beat twice in 24 hours. And I vividly remember doing that video. What happened was, in the playoffs, number 2, Ohio State got beat by Clemson. I believe that was a Saturday. And then that Sunday, number 2, Ohio State in basketball got beat by West Virginia. So I'm sorry, Jeffrey. It was a perfect storm, and I couldn't resist, and it turned out to be a good video. So, sometimes things just happen. By the way, guys, this I don't know. I think this is not on mirror mode, but whenever I figure out the mirror mode, you'll see my merchandise GBD dude, golden blue dude. So yeah, I'm starting to come out with merchandise. Just got to set up my play shop and all that stuff, and I'll be doing all kinds of colors. It won't just be golden blue. So keep an eye out for that. I got cozies, so can hold your beer and drinks. Here we go. Les says, Hugs rocks. Yes, all-time great team West Virginia has this year. Hurricane T2Y. Miami looked terrible today, but I feel better that the Gators lose. There you go. Hey, there's always a silver lining, even though Miami got stomped. Florida got beat by a lesser team as well. So, yeah, silver lining. There you go. Citrus, what's up, bud? I haven't seen you on the live yet. Ohio State beat Notre Dame in basketball. Yeah, I saw that on an earlier comment. He also says, my Huskers feel flat. Elaborate on that, Citrus. I know you're a big Nebraska fan, so I need you to elaborate on why you think the Huskers feel flat. Let us know. Michael, what's up, man? AKA W Mounties 8. Man, you have a long name, man. Shorten that thing. Hey, Wild Man. Got to beat Richmond tomorrow. Yes, I'm very excited about that game. I think West Virginia will win, but I'm going to do a show because I got to leave here tomorrow and get back home probably around 2. So I'm going to try to do a show early in the morning for that. G Boone, oh man, last time West V was good, they had White as quarterback. You're talking about football? I have to agree. I mean, we had a couple of decent teams under Will Grier, but as far as being good, yeah, that was a good 15 years ago. Mountaineer fan says, nice merch. Appreciate it. Citrus, oh, here we go. Negative turnover margin is almost hard to beat for any team, even Florida. There you go. And Kyle Trask threw a pick 6. Jeffrey says, I'm a big boy. I can take a little shade, golden blue, dude. And that was last year. So keep that in mind as well, dude. The only shade that I'm throwing towards Ohio State this year is earning that last spot. But that's not to say, if Cincinnati gets beat in their championship game, Florida got dismantled today. I'm not saying that Ohio State should just absolutely not be allowed in the playoffs. I'm just saying right now, the eye test, I don't think they're a top 4 team. I think they're a top 10 team, but not a top 4 team. But that's not up to me. That's up to playoff committee. Jim, what do you think about Nebraska coach blaming their loss on TV timeouts? What? I didn't even know about that. I've been driving all day. So, Scott Frost blamed a Nebraska loss on TV timeouts. I have legitimately never heard that excuse in my entire life. I've heard it blamed on the refs, bad coaching, all that stuff, but never on TV timeouts. Man, you're going to have to elaborate on that one, buddy. That one's very strange. Hey, my brother gets in. Will Petrie, that's my brother, guys. Given the North Texas game, should we be worried about Richmond tomorrow? I would, never say never as far as being concerned about a game. Personally, I'm not super concerned. I think with the North Texas game, I think Huggins was trying to figure out the right combination of. You got to realize this is still early in the season. He's still trying to figure out the best combination of players during certain situations of the game. When I watched the North Texas game, I wasn't really surprised at how it went. He was doing some adjusting, and then, there at the end, we blew him away like we were supposed to. Richmond's a better team, so hopefully we've gotten all that figured out. But as far as, super worried, I'm not super worried, but they are a ranked team, so we do need to take them seriously. Dadgum, I'm getting backed up on my comments again, guys. That's a good thing, though. Let's see. Oh, College Basketball Kingdom. I have never seen College Basketball Kingdom. Hit that subscribe button, buddy. I want to hear from you more. I like that name. I got WVU beating Richmond 82-78. I like it. It's very common sense, very legit. I think WVU controls Richmond's power forward like they did. Is that power forward, PF? I can't think of anything else it would represent. If that PF stands for something else, let me know. Like they did Charles Basie from Western Kentucky. So that's exactly what it means. Yes, I agree. The teams that West Virginia do not match up well are the teams that are super fast, like Gonzaga. Richmond is kind of the same style as West Virginia, and I think we just have better athletes than Richmond. So, yeah, I like that score prediction. Logan, really wish they expanded the playoffs this year. Don't we all, buddy? Would have been perfect year to experiment, especially with Cincinnati being ranked high. Man, I love this comment. We saw the NBA and NFL do it. Plus, my Bearcats would have a chance for the playoffs. So you were already thinking what I was thinking. Yeah. I've done a video on. Well, I've done multiple videos on playoff expansion, but I've also done a video on how the group of five should do their own division because this year is proving they literally have zero chance to make it to the playoffs and get to a national championship. FCS has it, NBA has it, everybody has their own national championship. Group of five teams, if you think about it, they don't have a national championship. They really don't. And the biggest argument that people say are like, well, if they did that, teams wouldn't schedule them. Teams still schedule FCS opponents, right? So I don't buy that argument. And if this is the year that a group of five doesn't get in and they decide not to expand the playoffs, then the group of five just need to branch off and create their own division. And I hear that they're trying to actually do away with the NCAA, the institution of the NCAA, is because that's where most of the problems that we see in conferences and teams and playoffs and all that stuff stems from the NCAA. And if you did that, those group of five teams would be able to, start their own division and create their own national championship. And players would be able to, earn money. And I think players should be able to earn money. I mean, the universities, the TV market, everybody earns money off their backs. And everybody says, a free tuition is their payment. To a certain extent, I agree. But at the same time, billions and billions of dollars doesn't compare to what, at most 100,000. I think that's highballing it too. But you get the point. Billions versus thousands, no contest. All right, I'm seeing some new faces in here. I'm loving it. Let's see. Let me get to a new one. Well, let me get back to Citrus. Well, Jeffrey, West Virginia smashing Spiders tomorrow. I don't know about smashing, but we'll definitely flick them off the porch. Citrus says, do you have any recommendations for making football content? My aviation video here on their channel do well, but I'm struggling on my football channel. What would you recommend? Promote. Facebook groups, promote. That's all I can say. Ray, I was wondering, bud. Ray, is Miami really this bad? Yes, they are. I don't think they're really as bad as what we saw today, because if you go back to the Clemson game, they actually played Clemson well. It's just their offense couldn't really get anything going. But their defense was way better than what we saw today against North Carolina. So I don't know. Les says, dadgummit, where did that go? Hold on. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I agree with you, Michael. Again, Richmond not going to be a pushover. I have to do more research on on that Richmond team. I'm not going to try to BS my way through that, okay? That's not how I roll. So I'm going to do a little bit more research on Richmond before I can answer specific questions like that. I know they're the same type of team and will more than likely out-athlete them, but as far as specifics, not super familiar with them. Less. Sorry, not a very good speller in the dark. Dude, whatever floats your boat. Big Dan, hey from Monroe County. That's not too far away. This year is the perfect time to try a 16-team playoff. Yes. And they won't do it. No common sense. Check and check. I don't even know where to go from there because it's common sense. If you don't have common sense, then it's not going to get solved. Bottom line. G Boone, a lot of Big Ten people here. He's the golden blue. This is actually a funny comment. Well done, Boone. A lot of Big Ten people here. He's the golden blue dude, not the maize and blue dude. LOL. Yeah, a lot of people, whenever they see the golden blue dude, they do think I'm a Michigan fan, but I'm not a Michigan fan. But I will say I do have a lot of Big Ten subs because I do a lot of Big Ten videos because the Big Ten has been kind of the center of attention as far as college football goes. So you got to roll with, whatever's going on, and I try to keep my fingers on the pulse of things, if you will. Mountaineer fan, I feel bad. Why do you feel bad, bud? Let me know. Logan, Ohio State will never play Cincy when they are good. That is true. I remember the year Cincy went to the Sugar Bowl as the number 3 ranked team. We were supposed to play Ohio State, but they paid us to reschedule. I didn't know that. Citrus, Miami just looked unprepared today. As a Husker fan, I know a lot about that. Hey, was you or somebody else? I think it was you because you're a Husker fan. Y'all said that your coach blamed the TV timeouts for a loss today. I need to know a little bit more on that because I haven't, like I said, I've been driving all day today, so I haven't really been able to keep up with everything. Jim says Yahoo Sports ran a story that said Scott Frost said, said the reason they lost was because every TV timeout was called when Nebraska was on offense, which totally disrupted their momentum. I mean, yeah, I get what he's saying, but TV timeouts are not like scheduled firmly, but like, okay, well, the next little break we get, we need to do a TV timeout. It's not, you can't do that. You can't blame it on a TV timeout. I get his frustration. They were on a roll in offense, and maybe, a TV timeout happened and it threw him off. I get that, but it's really not related. Ohio State only plays Cincy if they're coming off a bad year and they have a bunch of junior seniors starting. What? Citrus, spelling is hard, can confirm. Guys, you are starting to confuse me a little bit. Mountaineer fan, any advice of making football videos? Yes, I do have advice on making football videos. Number 1, you have to be obsessed. Rule number 1, when you're making football videos, you have to be obsessed. You have to live this stuff. You have to breathe this stuff. Not going to lie. It takes a lot out of you. So if you don't love this and you're not obsessed with it, it's going to drain you and you'll get discouraged. So make sure you love it before you try it. It's very tasking. Jeffrey says, I love Luke Fickell, but it's absurd to say we fear Cincy. Yeah, I agree with you. Ray, Florida lost today. If Notre Dame beats Clemson next week, who do you have in the playoffs? That is a good question. So if Florida lost today, okay. So I'm going to take Alabama over Florida. So Alabama has 1 spot. You're saying if Notre Dame beats Clemson, well, of course, that would put Notre Dame in. So Clemson's out. I think with 2 spots open, then I would be comfortable with saying Ohio State. But as far as fighting for 1 spot, I'm not. But if there's 2 spots open, like you're saying, I would say Ohio State and Cincinnati. Because and the reason I would leave Texas A&M out now is because they go by head to head, and margin of victory and all that stuff. And so with Florida losing today, that Texas A&M win over Florida doesn't look as impressive. So if you're going by the rules of the book, that means Texas A&M slides down on the totem pole. So Alabama, Notre Dame, Cincinnati, and Ohio State would be my top 4 if that scenario happened. Not sure if you answered this yet. Who wins the Big Ten in basketball? Iowa and Michigan State look the best. Watch out for Rutgers. Illinois just fell to Missouri. I like Iowa. I really do. I expected them to be a top 25 team this year, but daggum, they're a top 5 team. They're a legit title contender. If I was to put money on it, I would say Iowa for sure. But you know what? Let me do a little bit more research into that before I give you a definite answer. But just going from what I've seen, definitely Iowa. They have impressed me so far. They paid to reschedule because Big Ten started playing 9 games instead of 8, forcing us to have only 3 games out of league. Oh, okay. Logan, you're good at reading through my bad spelling. Well, that's because I spell poorly myself, so I know how to read it. I'm sure that's what they claim. Need a shirt. Oh, yeah. We'll have shirts and hoodies and everything you can think of lined up here in the near future. Hopefully. We definitely have cozies out there and a few hoodies. The shirts we'll have to get on. Les, subscribed since the start. Yes, you are what I call one of my OG subscribers, and I appreciate you sticking with me. I try to put out the best stuff that I can. Dander, you do a great job. I was wondering when you were going to jump on, bud. I was wondering. You do a great job at this. Kudos. I appreciate that. Thank you. Logan, if Clemson beats... Oh, he's going to throw out another scenario. If Clemson beats Notre Dame, you think they would just flip seeds and play each other in the playoffs as 2 and 3? No. They're actually setting this up. The playoff committee is anticipating Clemson to beat Notre Dame. So they're not going to flip seeds. What's going to happen is Clemson is going to jump to 2. They're going to move Notre Dame to 4, and they're going to pull Ohio State up to number 3. So it's going to be Alabama versus Notre Dame, and you can book this right now if this scenario happens. Number 1 Alabama against number 4 Notre Dame, and then that's going to be the Sugar Bowl, and then the Rose Bowl will be number 2 Clemson against number 3 Ohio State. That happens. Number 1 Alabama beats Florida. That's going to happen, and Clemson beats Notre Dame. I'm pretty sure that's going to happen, but it's not a gimme. And of course, Ohio State beats Northwestern. If those 3 things happen, that's your seeding. Alabama 1, and they'll play number 4 Notre Dame. And then Clemson will be number 2, and they'll play number 3 Ohio State. That's how it will be if what we think will happen happens. Ray says Cincinnati would be interesting. It would, but the playoff committee has already shown us that they're burying them. So I've kept hope as long as I could, but it is what it is. Ohio State is still undefeated in basketball too. I didn't know that. And I did know they were in the top 25 though in Rising. So yeah, don't forget about Ohio State in basketball. Citrus, Big Ten might be the best conference in basketball, Art. We're not even going to go there. Real like Iowa basketball for sure. Yes. High on Iowa. Mountaineer fan. A Florida player collapsed in basketball. I'm not sure if he was good. That was the Florida State game, and people need to watch out for Florida State. They're going to be good, but I didn't know that a player collapsed. I hope he's all right. G. Boone, Ohio State has been terrible in basketball since olden days. No, actually, they've been pretty good. They actually, if I'm not mistaken, they've actually been to the Final Four. I mean, not recently, but in the last, I don't know, 15, 20 years. Michael, man, shorten your name. I don't want to say all that. Am I an OG sub? I think you are, actually. I think you are, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to go back and look at that, if there's a way to do that. But you've been commenting forever, so I'm just going to check you off as, yeah, you're an OG sub. College Basketball Kingdom, depending on COVID with Gonzaga. Number three, Iowa will head to Gonzaga December 19th. We will find out a ton about both teams. Yes. But here's the thing about Gonzaga. Before they played West Virginia, they completely destroyed a decent Kansas team. They beat them by 12. So then they play number 11 West Virginia, and Gonzaga did not control that basketball game. West Virginia was actually in control there for a while. Now Gonzaga pulled out the win, but that was a very back and forth game. So I think we actually do know a lot about Gonzaga. They're not overrated, and West Virginia is as good as we think they are. They still got some tough games. I'm not saying they're going to breeze through their schedules, but I think those three teams are actually really good. Gonzaga, Iowa, and my team, West Virginia. I think all three of those teams have a chance to get to the Final Four. For West Virginia, right now we're projected to be a number 2 seed. And whenever I gave out my recipe for West Virginia to get to the Final Four, one of the ingredients to that recipe is West Virginia has to get a top 4 seed at least. The higher, the better. Because I'm telling you, for whatever reason, West Virginia, whenever they're a lower seed, we get put in a very, very tough bracket. A couple years ago, we ended up playing Villanova in the Sweet 16, who went on to win the national championship. Guess who played them the toughest that year? West Virginia. So we have to get a higher seed. Notre Dame person in. Yes, Mike. If the Irish play against Bama in the playoffs, it will be like 2012 all over again. I don't think so. I think it would be a little bit closer. I think Notre Dame benefited from a super soft schedule that year and just enough talent to get them there. I think this year's a little different. I think Notre Dame has played some legit teams, and they have a legit defense. I still think Alabama would still win that game, but it's not going to look anything like 2012. I think Alabama can win by maybe a couple of touchdowns, but it would be competitive. I will say that. LT Panda, shout out, please. Shout out. It's getting late, guys. Shout out to LT Panda. You guys make me laugh sometimes. I swear. Okay, here we go. Logan and Jeffrey are going at it. That's cool. Ray, there you go. This ain't your 2012 Notre Dame team. This Notre Dame team is much bigger, badder, stronger. That's what I was saying. I'm not saying that Alabama's not better than Notre Dame this year, because I think they are. But as far as the talent gap, it's not as big as it was in 2012. So I would still have Alabama winning, but I do think it would be a competitive team, competitive game. Les says, hey, dude, I want to meet you when you come to the Backyard Brawl. Hey, man, just get in contact with me, because I'm pretty sure I'll be going, and, Morgantown's not that big of a place. We can hang out somewhere. Danner says, last year when seeding was mentioned, we turned into the Titanic. Yeah, what he means was West Virginia was actually doing pretty well towards the middle of the season, and then I believe it was that loss to Kansas State on the road, and we just imploded. Now, we gathered ourselves and finished the season strong, and I believe we were going to finish as a 5 seed in the big dance. But man, there for a while, I know exactly what you're talking about, man. We imploded on ourselves in the middle of the season. Jeffrey says, as a Bengals fan, it's really hard for me to hate on the Bearcats. Fun fact, Jeffrey, even though my college team is West Virginia, my professional team is the Bengals. It's been the Bengals ever since I was a little kid. So just imagine the suffering that I've had to endure from my college team and my pro team, and also my baseball team is the Reds. So yeah, I've had a lot of heartache in my life as far as sports goes. All right, guys. So it's getting late, and I got to drive back tomorrow. I'm thinking about doing a live show in the morning before the West Virginia football game. So if I can get up early enough and I have enough energy, I'm going to do that. Otherwise, I'll probably see y'all on the other side of the trip back to South Carolina. So I appreciate everybody stopping by. And if you haven't already, if you come and you see me and you like what you see, go hit the subscribe button and make sure to hit the like button too. I like likes too. And I promise I'm going to fix, whatever kinks we have. That's what this first show is all about. Figuring out what our problems are and fixing them. So it will get better, guys. I appreciate y'all stopping by. And we're going to do more of them. It was fun. Appreciate it, guys. Tomorrow. I don't know what time, but I'm going to do it. I promise. So we'll see y'all tomorrow sometime.